I was just brushing my hair before bed when I noticed something strange in the mirror. My reflection blinked, but I didn't. I froze. It smiled back at me. I stepped closer, and it tilted its head, exactly the opposite way I did. My heart stopped. I whispered, "Who are you?" And the reflection whispered back, "I'm the real you." If you ever look into a mirror tonight, make sure it doesn't blink first. If this story made your heart skip a beat, like, share, and subscribe, or maybe your mirror will start watching you back.
Last night, I heard something breathing under my bed. At first, I thought it was my dog, until I remembered I don't have one. I slowly leaned down, holding my phone's flashlight. My hands were shaking. I whispered, "Is someone there?" And a voice whispered back, "Finally, you're awake." I jumped back, but the sound of fingernails scratching the floor started getting closer, louder, until it stopped right under me. So tonight, before you sleep, whatever you do, don't look under your bed. If you felt chills listening to this, like, share, and subscribe. Or maybe something under your bed will start breathing tonight.
It started as an innocent gift, a beautiful porcelain doll with a red ribbon and glass eyes that almost looked alive. A mother bought it from a thrift store for her daughter's birthday. That night, the girl heard something, a faint whisper from her shelf. She thought it was her imagination. But when she woke up, the doll had moved, its head turned toward her bed. The next night, she locked it in a box. Still, at midnight, the whisper returned, "Don't leave me here." Terrified, the mother threw the doll in the trash. The next morning, it was sitting back on the table, clean, smiling, holding the same red ribbon. If you heard that whisper at midnight, would you listen or run? Like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes toys remember who owned them.
They say every mirror has a memory, but this one remembers death. A girl bought an antique mirror from an old shop. At first, it looked beautiful, golden frame, flawless glass. But one night, when she looked into it, her reflection didn't move. It smiled. She froze, watching herself grin in a way she never could. Then, the reflection raised its hand, but she hadn't moved at all. The glass began to fog up from the inside, and a message appeared, "I'm coming." She screamed, covered the mirror, and ran. The next morning, the mirror was gone. Only her phone camera showed a faint image, her own reflection, smiling behind her. Like, share, and subscribe if you dare to see what's next. Because some mirrors don't just show your face, they show your fate. It was a quiet night when Emily's phone rang. The number flashing on her screen was her best friend's, Sarah. But Sarah had died 2 weeks ago. Emily froze. The call didn't stop. Her hands trembling, she finally answered, and heard a whisper, "Why did you leave me?" The line went dead. Emily checked her call log. There was no record of the call. But then, a new message appeared, with a picture. It was Sarah, standing outside Emily's window. Would you answer a call if you knew it came from the other side? Like, share, and subscribe, because some calls never end. There was an antique mirror in an old pawn shop, beautiful, cracked, and said to be cursed. When Liam bought it for his room, strange things began to happen. Each night, the mirror showed reflections that didn't match reality. One night, Liam looked into it and saw himself, sleeping peacefully. But then, behind his reflection, something moved, a dark figure standing over his bed. Panicked, he turned around. Nothing. When he looked back, the reflection was gone. Except for one thing, his reflection was smiling. The next morning, Liam was found unconscious. The mirror? It was gone. Only a note remained, written backward. I warned you not to look. Like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes mirrors show more than just your face. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, there was a small house that nobody wanted to rent. Tenants complained of knocks echoing through the halls at 3 a.m. Always 3 slow knocks. Always from the same door. One night, Emma decided to record it. She sat in the dark hallway, phone in hand, camera facing the door. At exactly 3 a.m., the knocking began, 3 loud bangs. She whispered, "Who's there?" Silence. Then, the doorknob turned, slowly. Emma ran toward the light switch, but when the light flicked on, the door was wide open. And in the recording, the door was still closed. But there was a reflection, a pale hand pressing against the inside of the glass. Like, share, and subscribe if you dare to open that door. It was a quiet night. Too quiet. I was sitting in my room, scrolling through my phone, when I heard it. A faint whisper coming from the wall. At first, I thought it was just the pipes, or maybe the wind outside. But then, the whisper spoke again. And this time, it said something clear, something terrifying. It said, "I'm still here." I froze. My heart stopped for a second. It was a woman's voice, soft, trembling, coming from inside the wall. The next night, it happened again. But this time, she said my name. Michael. It was my name. I grabbed my phone to record it, but as soon as I hit the record button, the whisper stopped. Silence. Total silence. I touched the wall. It was ice cold. And then, knocking sounds came from inside. Slow, deliberate, like someone was trapped. The next morning, I called a worker to open that wall. When he broke through, he found an old wooden box, dusty and sealed. Inside was a small tape recorder. A note was taped to it. It said, "Don't play this tape after midnight." Of course, I played it. And guess what I heard? That same voice, whispering, "I'm still here." Then a scream, and the tape stopped by itself. That night, at exactly 12:03 a.m., I heard her again, but this time, she wasn't inside the wall anymore. She was behind me. It was 2:47 a.m. when my phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated for a second, but answered. "Hello." I whispered. No response. Just breathing. Then a soft voice said, "Why did you call me?" My stomach dropped, because I hadn't called anyone. I checked my phone log and froze. The call was coming from my own number. I hung up immediately, but the phone rang again. Same number, same voice. This time she said, "Don't hang up. I'm outside." My heart pounded. I rushed to the window. There was no one there, just empty streetlights flickering in the fog. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, soft, getting closer. The phone slipped from my hand. It hit the floor, still connected. From the speaker, I heard her whisper, "Told you, I'm inside now." The screen went black, and in the reflection, I saw her, standing right behind me, holding my phone. Before you run away scared, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because you never know, the next story might call you too. I used to think mirrors were harmless, just glass reflecting what's in front of them. But that night, my reflection stopped following me. It was around midnight. I was brushing my teeth when I noticed something. My reflection was still brushing after I'd stopped. I froze. It smiled. I didn't. I leaned closer, trembling, and then it whispered from the other side. Finally, "You're looking at me." I dropped my toothbrush and stepped back, but the reflection stayed. It didn't move, didn't blink. Then it lifted its hand and pressed it against the glass. I could see faint fingerprints from inside the mirror. I turned to run, but the bathroom door slammed shut on its own. The lights flickered. When they came back on, my reflection was gone, but the mirror wasn't empty. It was showing my room, my bed, and someone sitting on it, smiling. The power went out, and in the dark, I heard the same whisper behind me. You shouldn't have looked too long. Before you check your reflection tonight, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because maybe your mirror is already watching you. It was 2:47 a.m. The building was empty, or at least, it should have been. I pressed the elevator button, and it opened with a soft chime. I stepped inside, alone. Floor 9, floor 8, but suddenly, the elevator stopped at floor 6. The doors slid open, and no one was there. Just a faint sound, like breathing. I pressed close, but before the doors shut, a cold hand appeared from the side and stopped them. No one walked in. Yet I felt the air grow colder, and the light flickered as if something unseen had entered. The elevator started moving again, but this time I hadn't pressed anything. It went past the lobby, straight down, below basement level, somewhere that shouldn't exist. Then the elevator stopped. Ding! The doors opened, and in front of me was a long, dark hallway. Flickering lights, dripping water, and someone standing at the end, smiling. The lights went out. The last thing I heard was a whisper. Next stop, your floor. If you're watching this alone tonight, remember to like, share, and subscribe before the elevator stops on your floor. It was 3 a.m., the hour everyone says the veil is thinnest. I was home alone, scrolling on my phone, when I heard 3 soft knocks on my front door. Knock, knock, knock. At first, I thought it was the wind. But then, I heard it again, louder this time. Someone, or something, was outside. I looked through the peephole. Nothing, just the empty darkness of the street. But when I turned away, the knocking started again, from the back door. My heart was pounding now. No one knew I lived alone. No one should have been there. I grabbed my phone, ready to record, and whispered, "Who's there?" No answer, only silence. Then a faint voice whispered back, my own voice. It said, "Let me in." I froze. Every hair on my body stood up. The door handle started turning slowly. I ran to the front door, but it was already open. The video ends there. No one knows what happened after 3:02 a.m. If you're brave enough to stay up tonight, like, share, and subscribe before someone knocks at your door. There's something strange about this room. Every night, when the lights go out, the air moves. Not like a breeze, but like the room itself is breathing. The walls expand and contract, slow, heavy, alive. And when you whisper, it whispers back. Once, I put my ear to the wall, and I swear I heard a heartbeat. Now I sleep in the hallway, because whatever's inside that room, it's waiting for me to come back. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your click might just keep the darkness away. That night, I saw it again. The shadow standing in the corner of my room. It wasn't mine. It moved when I didn't. Then it spoke, in a low, cold whisper, calling my name. I froze. Every light in the house flickered, and the air grew thick. I turned to run, but the shadow moved faster. It leaned close, and whispered again, "You can't escape me. I've lived here longer than you." From that night, I never slept in the dark again. If you felt chills, don't just scroll, maybe it's behind you too. Like, share, and subscribe before it calls your name. It was exactly 3 a.m. The room was silent, too silent. The curtains moved, but there was no wind. And there she was, that old doll I bought years ago from a forgotten attic. I swear, I saw her smile. First, her lips twitched. Then her glass eyes shimmered, like something was alive inside. My hand started shaking as I picked up my phone to record. But the moment I hit the camera button, the smile stopped and black tears began dripping from her eyes. The clock struck 3 times, and the lights went out. In the darkness, a giggle echoed. Soft, but right behind me. If you're watching this alone, don't look behind you, because the doll that smiled at me might be smiling at you now. If this story gave you chills, hit like, share, and subscribe, because the next story might be about you. It started one night when I came home late. The lights were off, but the air felt heavy, like something was waiting. As I walked through the hallway, I heard it. A whisper, soft, broken, my own name. At first, I thought it was the wind, but the second time, it came closer. Daniel. The voice was right next to my ear. I froze. My breath stopped. The lights flickered, and on the wall, I saw a shadow, mine, but it moved when I didn't. Slowly, it turned its head toward me. I ran, but as I slammed the door shut, I heard it whisper again. Not my name this time, but a warning. You can't escape what you created. If this story made your skin crawl, hit like, share, and subscribe, because the next voice might whisper your name. It was past midnight when I first heard it. A single, slow knock at the front door. I looked through the peephole. No one was there. Just the quiet street and cold wind. I shrugged it off, went back to bed. Then it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. Each knock was louder, slower, almost alive. I grabbed my phone, started recording. As I reached for the door, everything went silent. Then suddenly, the door knocked back from the inside. The handle twisted by itself. Something was trying to come in, or get out. The next morning, I checked the footage. There was no one outside, but behind me, in the reflection of the glass, a pale face was smiling. If that gave you chills, don't just scroll. Like, share, and subscribe before something starts knocking on your door tonight. I moved into this old apartment last month. The first few nights were peaceful until I heard it. A whisper coming from inside the wall. At first, I thought it was the neighbors, but when I knocked, the whisper knocked back. Every night after that, it got louder. Sometimes it laughed, sometimes it cried, and sometimes it said my name. Last night, I pressed my ear to the wall, and the voice whispered, "I'm still here." Then I felt something move behind the wall, crawling right where my head was. I ran outside in fear, but when I looked up at my window, someone else was standing there, waving at me, from inside my apartment. If you're brave enough to stay alone tonight, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because some voices never stop calling. It started as a normal evening. Emily was scrolling through her phone when it began ringing. An unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Hello," she said. The voice on the other end whispered, "Why did you leave me?" Her heart froze. It was her own voice. Same tone, same accent, same laugh. Then the voice said, "Don't look behind you." Emily turned, and there she was, standing in the hallway, holding the same phone, smiling the same smile. The next morning, the police found only one phone in the house, but 2 sets of fingerprints. If this story made you glance behind you, then like, share, and subscribe, because your phone might be ringing next. In a small town outside Manila, a girl named Lisa bought an old mirror from a street market vendor. It looked simple, cracked, dusty, but it had something strange. That night, she noticed her reflection, blinking slower than she did. At first, she laughed. Then, she stopped laughing when her reflection smiled, and she didn't. Every night after that, she'd wake up to the sound of tapping, coming from inside the mirror. One night, she whispered, "Who's there?" Her reflection leaned closer and said, "You are." When her family entered her room the next morning, the mirror was broken, and Lisa was gone. But in each shattered piece, her face still smiled back. If you have a mirror near you right now, don't stare too long. Just like, share, and subscribe before your reflection blinks first. In an old house in Quezon province, a newlywed couple moved in, excited, full of dreams. But every night at exactly 3 a.m., someone would knock on their wooden front door. 3 slow knocks. Always 3. At first, they thought it was the wind, or maybe stray cats. But when the husband opened the door one night, no one was there, just the cold air and a faint scent of candle wax. The next night, the knocking came again, louder this time. He opened the door fast, still nothing. But his wife screamed, because even though the hallway was empty, a fresh handprint appeared on the wood, burnt into it. The barangay captain said the house once belonged to a priest who disappeared during a midnight confession. And that's when they realized the knocking wasn't asking to come in, it was asking to be let out. So if you ever hear knocking at your door tonight, don't open it. Just like, share, and subscribe before someone else answers it for you. In a small apartment in Manila, a young student named Lara rented a cheap room. It was old. The paint was cracked, and the walls, they seemed to whisper. At first, she thought it was just the neighbors. But one night, as she stuttered past midnight, she heard it clearly. A voice, soft, female, calling her name from inside the wall. Lara. She froze. The voice came again, closer this time. Lara, I can see you. Terrified, she pressed her ear to the wall. The sound was coming from inside the bricks. She ran to the caretaker, but he just stared blankly and said, "You shouldn't have rented that room. The last tenant never left." The next day, workers tried to break the wall open, and behind the plaster, they found a small, hollow space with a human skull inside. From that day on, no one stayed in that room longer than one night. So, if you hear someone whisper your name tonight, don't answer. Just like, share, and subscribe before the voice whispers your name next.
It was a rainy night in Quezon City. Mia had just reached home after work, tired and alone. Her phone rang. The number on the screen was her own. She froze. How could she be calling herself? Curiosity, or maybe fear, made her answer. "Hello," she whispered. There was silence. Then, a faint voice replied. Her own voice. "Mia, don't open the door." Her heart pounded. She looked toward the front door. Someone was knocking. 3 slow, heavy knocks. "Mia," the voice repeated. "They are already inside." The lights flickered. Her phone fell from her hand, and in the reflection of the black TV screen, she saw herself standing behind her, smiling. The next morning, neighbors found the door still locked, but Mia was gone. If your phone ever calls itself, don't answer. Just like, share, and subscribe before your reflection does. In a small town outside Manila, Lara bought an antique mirror from an old market vendor. It was beautiful, carved wood, golden frame, but the vendor whispered, "Never look into it after midnight." That night, Lara laughed at the warning. At exactly 12:03 a.m., she stood before the mirror, smiled, and said, "Show me something scary." Her reflection smiled back, but she hadn't moved. The lights flickered. She stepped closer, and her reflection whispered, "Let's trade places." Her phone fell as the mirror rippled like water. When her sister entered the room, Lara was gone. Only her reflection remained, smiling from inside the glass. Since then, anyone who buys that mirror says the same thing happens, but faster. If you ever see your reflection blink first, run, like, share, and subscribe before your mirror watches you.
It started one quiet night when I heard someone whisper my name. I thought it was my brother, but when I looked, No one was there. The whisper came again, closer this time. Lara. My blood froze, because only my late grandmother called me that way. I turned off the lights, grabbed my phone, and saw a dark shadow standing right behind me on the screen. It wasn't my reflection. It was smiling. The next morning, my phone had a new recording. A voice saying, "Now I know your name. If you ever hear your name whispered in the dark, don't answer." 3 nights after the whisper, I thought it was over. But last night, my phone started ringing at 3:03 a.m. The caller ID said, "Lara, home." That's my own number. When I answered, all I heard was breathing. Then that same voice whispered, "I know where you sleep." The lights flickered. My mirror cracked, and I saw the same shadow standing in the corner, smiling again. This time, it wasn't behind me. It was beside me. I ran outside, but even under the streetlight, the shadow followed, because it wasn't in my room anymore. It was inside me. And if this story made your heart race, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe before the shadow finds you next. When I rented this small apartment, the landlord said, "Don't stay in room 3 after midnight." I thought he was just superstitious, but the first night, I heard it. The walls were breathing. The lights flickered as the air thickened. I pressed my ear against the wall, and it exhaled. Then, something whispered from inside, "You shouldn't be here." I froze. The wallpaper began to move, like skin stretching over something alive underneath. I tried to run, but the door wouldn't open. The entire room pulsed, in and out, like a heartbeat. And then, I realized, the room wasn't haunted. The room was alive. If you ever stay in an old apartment in Manila, and the walls start breathing, don't wait. Get out before it inhales again. A like, share, and subscribe before your room takes its next breath, with you inside.
My sister's old doll hadn't moved in years, but last night, I woke up at 3 a.m. and saw it sitting on the edge of my bed. Its head slowly turned toward me, and it smiled. I froze. The smile wasn't painted, it moved. Then I heard a soft whisper, "You shouldn't have left me in the dark." I screamed and threw the doll in the trash outside. But when I came back, it was already waiting on my pillow, still smiling, holding a small note that said, "Now it's your turn to play." If you're watching this, check your room. Sometimes, the doll just wants a new friend. A like, share, and subscribe before she finds you next at 3 a.m. It started one night when the power went out. I lit a candle, and that's when I saw it. My shadow on the wall wasn't mine. It moved slower, different, and then it spoke. "I've been waiting for you, Carlo." My heart stopped. How did it know my name? I tried to move, but the shadow didn't follow. It just stood there, smiling, with eyes darker than black. When I blew out the candle, I thought it was gone. But when the lights came back, there were 2 shadows under my feet, and one of them whispered, "You can't walk away anymore." Now, every night, no matter how many lights I turn on, the other shadow stays. So if your shadow ever moves before you do, run, because it already knows who you are. A like, share, and subscribe before your own shadow starts whispering your name tonight.
My sister bought a second-hand doll from a street market in Quezon City. At first, it looked innocent. Pink dress, soft hair, big glassy eyes. But that night, something was off. At 3 a.m., I heard it. A small giggle coming from the shelf. When I turned on the light, the doll's head had moved. Its eyes were facing me now. I laughed nervously and went to fix it. But as soon as I touched it, its lips curved into a smile. I dropped it. The smile stayed. Next morning, my sister said, "Kuya, why did you move my doll last night? It told me you did." Now we keep it locked inside a glass box. But sometimes, at exactly 3 a.m. I still hear that tiny giggle and the sound of glass cracking. A like, share, and subscribe before your own toys start smiling back tonight.